Your girl is confused. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Ashley and today's video is all about the series that I hope to start before the end of 2021. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These series are mostly going to be fantasy or like some kind of paranormal. I have one contemporary romance and I do have a reread that's a fantasy romance. So I guess I'll start with that. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I read this earlier this year. I binged it all. And I can't remember when A Court of Silver Flames came out, but literally I finished all of these just in time for A Court of Silver Flames. I read this when I found out the worst news I could ever possibly hear this year, something personal in my family that we are all really struggling with. So I read this to escape right after that happened. I read this and immediately that night I went on Amazon and I bought the whole rest of the series and I felt really connected to Feyre. I already want to reread it. I love Throne of Glass too, but there are so many in that series compared to this one that I'm like, I just really want to read this. Again, I'm thinking about annotating it because I loved it so freaking much. So we'll see, because there are a lot of other things I want to read. No, I really want to read this again. So we'll see. I don't know. This is the only reread that I have for this year though. Honestly, I think I'm going to pick it up next. Next is an oldie. It is the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlaine Harris. And, you know, people might be like, you know, that's old news, but whatever. In high school, this was my favorite series. This is book 1, Dead Until Dark. I have the whole series. I love the TV show. I will say, why did the TV show completely veer off? It is definitely not as good as the books. So if you haven't read the books, even though there's like 14, 15 of them, but you read the show, watch the show, you should definitely check these out because they are so much better. At least from when I read them in high school. That's why I want to reread them, because it's been like 6 or 7 years now. And I really want to see if I love them as much now as I did then. And while I'm on that subject, actually the next book is also one that I read in high school and is another vampire series, Marked by PC and Kristen Cast. This was really popular when I was in high school. I have not completed the series, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 of the books. I don't even have the whole series yet. So I really want to restart this, see if I like it. Like, do I want to keep buying all the books to eventually read if I'm not going to like them? I remember loving these in high school though, the ones that I did read. So I really want to get back in this. This is the House of Night series. I forgot to say that. Book 1 is just Marked. And then the last one in like the vampire world is going to be The Vampire Diaries. I'm so behind on the TV show, but I watched Vampire Diaries all the way this year and I'm watching the originals right now, and I was like, you know what, I gotta read these books. But let me tell you, I bought like the first 4 and then it wasn't until after that I saw where everyone thinks these suck. So let me know in the comments if you think that these are any good or not. Apparently they're so different from the show that if you love the show you might not even like these, so I'll get to them eventually. Team Damon. The next book is the only contemporary that I have in this whole shebang, and that is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. This is the book of the month copy. I picked this for the month of, what are we in? We're in July. I picked this as like a member favorite instead of picking any of the month picks because this month I wasn't really feeling them, and I've been wanting to read this so bad. I prefer fantasy romance and now dark romance to contemporary romance, but I still do love them, and anytime I need a light read, this is what I go for. I'm bummed because I love for things to match, and I know that Dani Brown and Eve, or is it Eve? Yeah, Eve Brown are not going to match this, but you know what, whatever. Apparently these are really good, really steamy, and actually funny. I just realized that I've not really been giving synopsis of the series that I want to read this year. That's lovely. So this is about Chloe Brown, who, what does she have? She's chronically ill, and basically she's lived like a very sheltered life, hasn't really done much. So she makes a list of things that she wants to do in life. And I think one of them is move out on her own. And then the romance is between her and her landlord. Everything else that I have is pretty much in the fantasy world. So the very first is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I don't even honestly know what this is about. I just know that this has a lot of plot twists and everybody really likes at least the first few books in this series. I also just bought Realmbreaker that I really want to read, but I refuse to go into that one without reading the Red Queen series first. The next book I have mentioned in a couple of videos now, so really it shouldn't be a shock at this point, but that is Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. First of all, this cover is beautiful. And for once, even though I really want to own all the books in this series before I start reading, I'm like holding off. I have to read the first one, and then if I love it, I will buy all the other ones. I think the fourth one comes out at the end of this year in December. This is about a girl who is considered a nightmare, and her name is Fortuna, and she's trying to find her brother that went missing. Apparently there's this fairy that knows where he is, and he said if she marries him, he will help her get him back. It's really dark and there are a lot of triggers, so you might want to check that out before reading. One of my favorite YouTubers is Becca in the Books. She raves about these books and absolutely loves them, so I definitely found this from her and want to read this because of her. The next one was also a recommendation by Becca in the Books, and that is Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa, and this is a completed series, so like thank God, because I really need to be reading series that are already finished because I love to binge read. Rhapsodic is the first book in the Bargainer series, and this is about a girl who makes a deal with the bargainer. Apparently this girl has been making bargains with him for 7 years and he hasn't collected. He finally comes to collect, and I believe that it is their romance. Honestly, I try not to know too much before I read books because I want to be shocked and just fall in love with it that way. I don't read reviews. I don't want to know too much beforehand. So I kind of suck at explaining these things. So, you know, come back when I review stuff. I also think this is a gorgeous cover. All right, and then the last two are books that people are going to be like, what in the world? And those are The Cruel Prince and City of Bones. So this is the Mortal Instrument series, and this is the Folk of the Air series. I have not read anything in either one of those worlds. I own all three of the Folk in the Air series, so I really need to get into this. I don't have the How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories yet. It looks beautiful and I love how illustrated it is, so I do need to get it, but I want to read all of these before I actually purchase it. This is an Enemies to Lovers. Everyone and their mom already knows about this book, so I probably really don't even need to describe it. Jude and Cardan like hate each other and eventually fall in love or something. Jude is she human? I think Jude is human, and she's living in the fairy world, and like she's hated by all the fairies, and including the Cruel Prince, which is Cardan. But I don't really know more than that. At first on YouTube, this was like a fan favorite. Everybody stinking loves this. But I feel like now it's kind of like more mixed. And maybe it's because a lot of people were disappointed with Queen of Nothing. I don't really know. So I really, really, really want to read this soon. Especially since I already own all three books. Like I need to just read it. I love Enemies to Lovers. Why haven't I started this yet? I really don't know. And then City of Bones, which is part of the Mortal Instruments. I do own all of the Mortal Instruments series, but after buying all of them, I found out that I actually need to read the Infernal Devices after book 3 of the Mortal Instruments. So I don't know, or like something in there. Your girl is confused. But for whatever reason, I did buy all 6 of the Mortal Instruments books, not knowing if I even liked them, which that's something I have stopped doing. Unless it's a gift from someone else, I don't buy full series. I like to just buy the first book now and like see how it goes, just because I don't want to have a bunch of books if I'm not going to like it. I have them all right here. I got all 6 of these from Second & Charles, so I didn't pay full price. I paid $60 for all 6 books, so 10 a piece. I feel like that's really good. I know there are some die-hard Cassandra Clare fans out there, which is the author of these books, if you didn't know. And then there's some people that are like, God, it's a waste of time. All of her books are in this world. Why waste your time? Because it's not that good. I don't know. I hope that I really like it, considering I already have 6 of the books. And I tell you what, her book covers are gorgeous. Like the Last Hour series, which is the one she's writing right now, those look freaking gorgeous. And I know everyone loves the Infernal Devices, which is the series that kind of mingles in between these. But those are all of the series that I really want to start this year. I'm sure some of them I'll finish. Some of them I probably won't start, especially since I'm adding that reread. That's going to kind of like halt a lot of new material. Nah, I probably won't, because I'll probably read those in a few days. But the fact that I'm already putting in rereads when I'm behind on so many things that I want to read is kind of crazy. I don't know why I'm doing that to myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing. I've got a lot of things coming, hopefully. I did have to take a few weeks off. There's just been some crazy things happening, of course, right when I went to start a YouTube channel. But I have a lot of ideas for stuff coming up. So please stick around, subscribe if you wanna. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.